back to Tiny Seeds. I'm so glad you're here. Today I wanted to start a new series of videos where I try to tackle an issue that gave me a lot of stress and worry when I was homeschooling through the middle school years, and that is high school. When I began homeschooling our girls all the way back in preschool, I just assumed, like many new homeschoolers do, that once we reached the high school years, we would just transition into a traditional school setting. Once high school came around, all too quickly, there was not a traditional school setting in our area that we felt comfortable with. So I was diving in, like it or not. I spent my daughter's 9th grade year very nervous as I tried to plan out her 4 years of high school, come up with a new system of record keeping, and planning for her transcript. Most of my friends approached high school record keeping very loosely. I like to do things by the book. I like to have all my documentation in line, and that way I feel good about it if I'm ever audited down the line. First disclaimer, and I cannot stress this enough, please be sure, as always, to check with your state and your local county school board for the homeschooling requirements for your area. I live in Florida, and my requirements may be vastly different from someone who lives in another part of the country. Second disclaimer, I will never claim to be an expert, and you shouldn't consider me one. I'm just simply sharing what works for us. So how do we tackle this mountain of planning for high school? I say just dive in. Let's take it step by step. Ideally, you would begin planning in 8th grade. I did not begin planning until we were well into our 9th grade year, just because I was so intimidated. So late planning is no reason to give up. You can do this. So to begin, keep yourself organized from the start. I keep a little standing file, small file box where I keep all of my mom stuff, and that works great to just incorporate my high school planning into there. So start a few new files. You could call them high school planning. You could call one a file for transcript records, and maybe a third one for grades or credit keeping. I have mine named all different things, but I think that those 3 files will cover you, and hopefully you can make yours cuter than mine. Next, I recommend gathering a few pieces of information that you're going to print off, and these are going to kind of serve as moving pieces in your high school planning. The first is to go to your county school board website and print out the high school standard diploma graduation requirements. This is an example for our county, and it should break down for you how many credits a typical public school student needs to earn in high school in order to receive a diploma. Now, whether or not your child is actually receiving a diploma is another issue or another discussion, but a standard public school student would need to earn this many credits in language arts, math, science, social studies, fine arts, physical education, electives. There also may be specific things for your state that are required, such as an online course or those types of requirements. Your second bit of information is to go to the HSLDA website and print up their guide for homeschooling through high school. I will put the link for this in the comments below on this video, but this guide gives really helpful ideas for how you might want to plan out your child's high school years based on what they want to do beyond high school. So if they know that they're going directly into the workforce or they're going into the military right after high school, they would show you the credits that that child would need to earn to make sure that they're covered for a standard diploma. Then they also have ideas and layouts for if you are preparing your child for college. This is just a really helpful guide to what colleges are looking for so that you have an idea. The third piece of info for your puzzle that you're putting together may only apply to some people, and that would be if your child knows which college they want to go to, or you know what college you want to send them to, you'll want to go onto that college's website and print out their standard admission requirements. That will be very helpful in your planning, but again, many, or I would even say most, students do not know what they want to do with their lives yet in 8th grade. So you may not have clear direction on that, and that is fine. Lastly, there's one more piece of information that you may want to educate yourself on, and that would be, what is a credit? This might vary from state to state. So again, you're going to want to make sure that you are in line with the requirements for your state. I just Googled Florida high school definition of credit, and I came up with the Florida Statutes Education Code definition of a credit. Go ahead and print this off and read through the legal mumbo jumbo, and you will probably be able to make sense of what constitutes a credit. Now, this is super helpful if you are piecing together curriculum to make your own courses for your child. Now, most publishers of homeschool curriculum will help the parent by advising, this course is on a high school level and it will earn this amount of credit. And you can easily, put that on your child's transcript. This will just help you as a fallback for those non-traditional courses that you're putting together yourself. So take all of this info that you've just printed off, go ahead and start reading it and studying it, kind of pondering it. It can be a lot, and you may want to put it aside once in a while, come back to it. You're just getting comfortable with a bird's eye view of high school as a whole. On that note, and lastly for this step, I have some don't panic points for you. Number 1, don't panic if your child has no idea what they want to do with their life, where they want to go to college at 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade. This is very, very common, and my husband and I both feel that there's way too much pressure put on kids nowadays to know where they're going and what they're doing at such a young age when they haven't really developed the maturity or the wisdom to make those types of decisions. So don't panic if your child does not know what they want to do yet. Number 2, don't panic if you fall down the black hole of over-researching. Even going to the HSLDA website that I recommended earlier has a ton of information, and you can easily get overwhelmed. I always say that I have to limit the number of voices in my head, otherwise I completely spin out of control. So feel free to put things aside, think them over, and come back to them at a better time. It will all make sense eventually. Number 3, don't panic about setting forth a plan for high school or feel that it's set in stone, you can't modify it. What if you can't keep up? What if life happens? It's always able to be modified, and in fact, you're going to change your plan so often throughout your child's 4 years, readjust and whatnot, that you don't need to be concerned about any of these plans being set in stone. You are creating a guide only. Nothing you do here is going to make or break your child's high school career. I hope this has been helpful as we take the first step toward planning for your child's homeschooling through the high school years. Next time, we will take a look at beginning to pencil in some ideas for the actual courses they'll take throughout their 4 years. I will provide a super simple, easy printable with that video if you want to tune back in. Make sure that you hit subscribe and turn on your notifications so that you'll find out when that video comes out. And I thank you so much for watching today.